When the Wayans Brothers aired on 11 January 1995, the world was captivated by the hilarious jokes, witty lines, and the lives of the Wayans brothers. The show did really well and aired for more than 4 years before it was canceled in 1999. Apart from two of the most famous Wayans brothers, several other famous figures joined the cast, such as Anna Marie Horsford and John Witherspoon, who both became part of the show in season 2. Even though we haven't seen a new episode of the Wayans brothers since 1999, the actors from the show continue to pursue their careers in the entertainment industry. However, you'll see Marlon's name pop up frequently. So what exactly happened to Shawn? Join me in this video as we take a closer look at Shawn's life after leaving the Wayans Brothers show and to discover where he is in life today. The Wayans Brothers was a show created by brothers Shawn and Marlon Wayans. They were both brothers in the show, and the same is true in real life. The TV series focused on the two staying in an apartment located in Harlem. It all started with Shawn having his own newsstand. He and his brother would work daily at the newsstand located in Rockefeller Center. Their father, named John Pops Williams, owned a restaurant. However, he didn't make an appearance until season 2, when his role was filled by John Witherspoon. Over the years, the cast changed and the story transitioned. It became a hit TV show, but it all came to an end in 1999. The last episode aired on the 20th of May, 1999, and following the cancellation, we saw the Wayans brothers go in separate directions. Shawn Wayans did go on to star in a couple of other shows and films. However, this all seemed to have stopped by 2009 after landing a role in Dance Flick. It's like Shawn just went quiet. Perhaps he started to focus more on his personal life, or maybe he just wasn't feeling like continuing his career in entertainment and comedy. There are a lot of questions that come up when taking a look at his career and considering what he is doing in the modern day. Shawn Wayans was born on 19 January 1971. He was part of 10 siblings in total, being the second youngest amongst them all. His mother was a social worker and a homemaker by the time of his birth, while his father was working as a supermarket manager. The Wayans were known for their interest in the entertainment industry long before the birth of Shawn. This is why it wasn't surprising that Shawn, just like many of his siblings, also found joy in comedy and acting. He grew up in Chelsea and by 1989 graduated from the Bayard Rustin High School for the Humanities. Not much else is known about his early life, even though there are many reports of his siblings. Shawn's journey in entertainment started 1 year before he graduated from high school when he landed a part in Living Color, a TV series that Fox produced at the time. He started out as a character known as DJ SW1. One of Shawn's brothers, Keenen Wayans, was actually the creator of this show. Shawn did find an interest in DJing prior to the show and began to show off his skills on In Living Color. Apart from Shawn and Keenen, several other siblings were already part of the TV series. This included his sister Kim Wayans, as well as his brothers Damon, Dwayne, and Marlon.
Uncle, shall I smack an old lady in the head with a brick? Brick, crack, crack, brick, blood, brains, snot, eyeballs, drag up her cheek. Whatever happened to that cute old lady so sweet in her book?
While he made occasional appearances at first, Keenen later decided to make Shawn a feature performer on the show. This marked his entry into the world of acting and performing and laid out an important foundation for Shawn's ability to build a career in this industry. In 1995, Shawn partnered up with his brother, Marlon Wayans, to create a sitcom. They both had talents as comedians, so this was a great way for them to push their careers forward and make a name for themselves. He was the co-writer and co-executive producer of the Wayans Brothers. The first episode aired on the 11th of January 1995. His performance while on the show and Living Color show helped him build up to this point. The Wayans Brothers quickly became a hit TV show with thousands of viewers. It was a sitcom that revolved around Marlon and Shawn, also portraying two brothers who lived together in an apartment. In the 1990s, sitcoms were incredibly popular, so it makes sense that this show picked up so fast. Shawn remained part of the show up until the last episode, which aired in 1999, 4 years after the start of the show. There were several celebrities that joined the cast of the show in these years, including John Witherspoon, who played the role of their father. Layla Rashawn, Paula Jai Parker, Jill Tasker, and Anna Marie Horsford were also among the cast members who joined Shawn and his brother throughout the series.
$100 for your silence now. All right, I'm only playing, girl. All right, let's put all this work down. Too much work. You know that old saying, all work and no play keeps a brother horny.
Being surrounded by these big names helped Shawn make his mark in the industry, which is also when he started to go bigger. In 1996, just a year after the Wayans Brothers started to air, Shawn landed himself a role in a feature film. It was called Don't Be a Menace to South Central While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood. Quite a long name for a feature film, but it was a meaningful piece, and Shawn really stood out with the role he played. Apart from Shawn, one other sibling also had a role in this feature film, which was Keenan Wayans. Whether or not Keenan helped Shawn land the part is unclear. It is, however, known that Keenan was much more established in the industry by this time. Before the Wayans Brothers ended, Shawn made appearances in several other titles as well. This includes Hanging with Mr. Cooper. He played as a guest star in some episodes on the show MacGyver. Damon Wayans, one of Shawn's brothers, decided to create an animated series in the 1990s. Shawn became the voice behind one of the characters that were seen in this series. This character was known as Tool.
Yo, if you squint, it looks just like Jersey. I think I've seen enough. Where to next?
The show was called Waynehead and focused on the real-life experiences that Damon had when you grew up. Something you'll note is that until 1999, when the Wayans Brothers stopped airing, the majority of films and shows that Shawn was involved had the Wayans Brothers involved. From his appearance on In Living Color to the Wayans Brothers, his siblings were part of these projects. It was clear that the brothers and their sister Kim enjoyed working together at the time when Shawn just started his career in acting. This actually continued on after the Wayans Brothers was canceled. You see, in 1999, Shawn was given a role in the very famous Scary Movie, the start of an entire series of movies. This was a comedic satire movie that made fun of several trends in the film industry with a particular focus on the movie screen. Shawn's brother Keenan was actually the director of the film. Keenan also starred in Scary Movie alongside Shawn. It was also revealed that Shawn played a role as a co-writer in the script for the movie as well. Even though Shawn didn't go on to play in the sequels to the first Scary Movie film, apart from the second movie, he still had a major role in the creation of this series. The film saw several installments over the years, with the latest title being Scary Movie 5, which also moved away from what the original movies focused on. Now, some controversy came to light when Shawn showed up as an actor in Scary Movie 2. You see, in the first movie, he was great.
Oh, hey, man. Why don't you just relax and just let me do that for you?
Yeah.
Rest that little hand.
He played his part perfectly, and this is something that really added to the film's overall entertainment. However, there was some controversy when Shawn played the role of a gay black actor, or at least a closeted one, when he starred as Ray Wilkins in this sequel to the first movie. Shawn moved away from the Scary Movie franchise after the second film and began to focus on other projects. Apart from this title in 1999, Shawn also landed a role in another film that same year. This film was called New Blood and focused on a scenario that centered around gang drama and violence. Up until this time, Shawn's main focus was on comedy. That's why some people were surprised to see him show up in a movie that had a much more serious take on the plot. However, he did really well, so the role he played in New Blood is definitely something that added a positive imprint to his growing portfolio. Shawn continued to work alongside the Wayans in future films, even though they weren't part of the gang drama New Blood. Shawn continued to work alongside the Wayans in future films, even though they weren't part of the gang drama New Blood. In 2024, Shawn joined his brother, Marlon Wayans, in a film that was very different from what he did before. This time, the two brothers play as FBI agents. When the FBI puts them on a sensitive case, they have to disguise themselves. Instead of choosing a regular disguise, the two rather completely change themselves on white chicks. The movie was met with a lot of positive reviews, although some didn't like the fact of two black guys dressing up as white girls. With that said, we could look at it as our culture's way of portraying blackface, which is something whites haven't been afraid to use for more than 100 years. In White Chicks, Shawn took on the role of Kevin Copeland. Similar to many other movies that he got cast in, this one was also actually directed by one of the Wayans brothers. Keenan was the director of White Chicks, and his talents really showed as the movie was highly rated by fans of comedy.
Suck that right now.
The movie officially screened in 2004, and it took Shawn just 2 years to star in another film. Although the next film, Little Man, came out in 2006, Shawn likely started to shoot with his brothers once again way before then. Little Man was yet another unique movie from the Wayans Brothers. This time, however, Shawn had a much bigger role to play in the movie. While he mainly acted in the previous films that his brothers directed or produced, this time Shawn was given an opportunity to also co-produce and co-write. Apart from Shawn, Marlon and Ken were also part of the team that worked on Little Man. The film was, as with most other titles that featured Shawn and the Wayans, a comedy. It received really good ratings, much like their previous ones, and continues to be a hit when it comes to watching comedies from the early 2000s. The last film he played in during his peak years in the entertainment industry was Dance Flick. Similar to the scary movie films that we saw Shawn in, Dance Flick was also considered a comedic satire movie. It basically parodied popular dance movies that became a trend at the time. In Dance Flick, Shawn played as father of Baby.
To pick up my son. Hey, son. All right, I'm out.
In this type of movie, it's common for some characters to be referred to in this way. It really adds to the overall comedic approach that the film wants to take. Now, I've talked about some of the biggest hits in which Shawn was an actor: White Chicks, Little Man, Scary Movie 1, Scary Movie 2, and even Dance Flick. These comedy movies remain top-rated choices to this day. However, during these years, Shawn actually appeared on other shows as well. He even had a couple of shows and performances that he led by himself. They may not be as popular as these, but it's still important that we keep this in mind. In 2001, shortly before Scary Movie 2 was released, Shawn hosted his own open mic event. Following the release of Little Man in 2006, Shawn hosted another show that he worked on by himself. This show was called Centennial. For comedians, it's common to host this type of event. It's something that helps them show off their skills on the stage, mostly in front of a live audience. Even though Shawn's focus wasn't mainly on stand-up comedy, he did have a talent for this kind of performance. So it wasn't surprising that he had a couple of events where he went on stage. In 2007, he seemed to only have worked on a single show, also one that he wrote, produced, and hosted. It was called For the Bible Tells Me So. It doesn't seem like his brothers had any involvement in this particular performance. So it gave Shawn an opportunity to really show off his talents as an individual and not necessarily part of the Wayans. He had another show, While We Laugh, Black Comedians on Black Comedy. He hosted the show just before the 2009 movie Dance Flick was released. Vanilla Ice Archive is a film where Shawn appeared in as well. He appeared as himself. It was a documentary that focused on the famous American rapper named Vanilla Ice. He wasn't the main actor to appear in the film, but he was still shown based on his relationship with Vanilla Ice. Apart from his performance in several films, Shawn made a name for himself in a variety of TV series as well. We already talked about In Living Color, Hanging with Mr. Cooper, MacGyver, and Waynehead. However, there were several other shows where he also appeared. In Happily Ever After, Fairy Tales for Every Child, Shawn voiced the character Itch. He hosted the 2000 MTV Video Music Awards, which was also an important milestone in his acting career. In 1996, he played as himself, Shawn Wayans, in the show The Parenthood. 2 years later, he also made an appearance as Shawn Wayans in Comics Come Home 4. Shawn landed a role in Legends Ball in 2006, where he portrayed himself. In Tugaboo, Miracle on D-Rock Street, he played two roles, including Slim and Cheapy. He starred in the show twice in 2006 for these roles. In that same year, he also voiced the character Slim in Thugaboo Sneaker Madness. Now, we've taken a look at Shawn's appearance in movies and TV shows, but if you consider everything, you'll notice that he actually stopped acting in 2009. After Dance Flick, it seemed like Shawn had lost his interest in acting. Sure, he appeared in Vanilla Ice's documentary in 2012, but this wasn't really an acting role. He made a comeback to the world of TV shows in 2016 when he landed a role in Animals. He played the character Tommy. It was a comedy show that became quite popular. However, it wasn't a show where he showed his face. Instead, he ended up voicing one of the animated characters on the show. This really wasn't the comeback that a lot of people hoped for. He has been active with open nights as a stand-up a bit, with his last performance being in 2020. In terms of appearing on the big screen as part of a TV show or in a movie, it doesn't seem like this is something we'll see anytime soon. Even though he has some guest appearances here and there, it still doesn't really explain why he hasn't been working with the other Wayans sibling. They had several projects that they worked on together in the 1990s and the early 2000s. However, following Little Man, they haven't been working as closely together anymore. This is why a lot of people want to know where Shawn Wayans is today. If you take a look at his official Twitter account, for example, you'll notice that he was last active in 2019. Even actors who decide to take things slowly will usually continue to keep posting on their social media accounts, so this has been strange for a lot of his fans. He does have some activity on his Instagram account. However, the posts he has on this profile aren't really related to his acting career in 2024. Instead, there are several posts that pay tribute to the roles he played in movies from over a decade ago. You can also see Shawn show off his DJ skills as you scroll through the feed on his Instagram profile. Of course, as these questions arise, a lot of people have been making speculations. However, I did some digging and came to the conclusion that Shawn had actually become a family man. While many actors decide to balance their acting life and personal life, it seems like Shawn did the complete opposite. He started to focus more on his personal life, taking care of Layla and Ilya Wayans, his two daughters. He also had a son in 2006 who he called Marlon Wayans. There are several photographs of the actor and his children together. However, these are often not posted by Shawn, but rather publications, magazines, or by his two daughters and one son. For example, Ilya Wayans has a TikTok account where we've seen Shawn appear a couple of times. However, in these appearances, he doesn't act like the Shawn Wayans we know from titles such as Scary Movie and White Chicks. Instead, he acts like who he has become as a family man. While it seemed like Shawn Wayans disappeared from the entertainment scene in 2009, he did make a comeback in the TV series Animals by 2016. However, ever since then, he's been quiet, with many of his social accounts also lacking activity. This has made a lot of people ask where Shawn is today, why he decided to stop acting, and what he's doing. At the moment, there is no indication of whether or not Shawn will be returning to the industry. We do know that he has become a true family man. Shawn has two beautiful daughters who he looks after, and he sometimes recaps things from the past on his social media accounts, although very rarely. We have, however, seen cases where Shawn showed off his skills as a DJ as well. So if you've been asking what happened to Shawn Wayans, then you should now have your answer. What do you think of his decision to move away from the big screen and rather focus on his family? Do you miss his films? And do you hope for his return to the entertainment industry? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and be sure to leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. To keep up with my latest content, be sure to subscribe to my channel.